It is possible for me to change. This is not my story. I get to write my own script. I am not a victim. Now, do you have evidence that you are worthy? And the reason that you are there is because you are good at your job? Your gender has nothing to do with it, right? So do not link both the things.
So, coach, there's another method which I have heard is that LIC and LA method. And how does that help along with the whole neuro coaching and spiritual mindset to
Correct.
build a great personality as a leader?
Yeah.
And I think to have a good, positive personal well-being.
When you fall will determine how far you will go, because failure is inevitable, right? I have yet, and trust me, I have met a lot of leaders. I have yet to find a man who can stand up, man or woman who can stand up and say, successful leaders, I have never made a mistake. Those people don't exist.
Hello, welcome again to Life Unscripted. Today, I'm honored to introduce Coach Saloni Suri, a person who has over 25 years of experience training, coaching, and making people's lives better. She deals with happiness. She spreads happiness. She teaches you how to change your narrative so you can feel happier and you can be a happier person as a whole. And the fun part, she backs it with science. She makes it realistic. She shows you proofs. And she has such a huge clientele. Speak to any one of them and you'll know. Thank you so much for being here, Coach, today. Thank you so much for having the time out and so that you can share your experiences and the knowledge that we all know you possess.
I'm grateful that you made time to see me. Thank you.
I think the pleasure is all mine, Coach. So you're not going to take that away from me today. So to begin with, Coach, I mean, this is a very different journey, like neuro. And we usually hear NLP trainings, we hear business coaching, but you're doing something different. You're trying to change the narrative of people, especially with your Rewire Your Brain workshop, which is quite famous, and a lot of corporates are now doing it. So, how did you get that vibe that you want to come here? Because I believe that previously you did journalism, you did leadership, communication, mass communication, and all those things. So, where did that spark of training people get into?
So I think in my earlier avatars, I used to do a lot of media training. I still do that. So it came very easy to me for me to make knowledge, complex knowledge, simple and explain it to others was natural for me. And it happened, I think, I've been studying how the brain works. I've been studying about spiritual wisdom for the last, I would say, maybe 40 years of my life. My first book came my way when I was just 13 years old. So I think I was preparing for this. This was my purpose in my life. I just didn't know it. And I started when I was 48 years old. I started this new, but the knowledge was there for a very long time. I was looking for answers myself, and I have a very logical brain. And I can't just believe that, oh, you just think it and it happens. I'm not that kind of a person. I need proof points. So I think I was looking for evidence myself. And along that journey, I found it. And that is where the spiritual world and how the brain works, it all came together for me. And when I learned it, I found a few ways in which I could teach it. And then I thought that this is what my purpose is in life. I have been preparing for it for a very long time. So I'm very fortunate that I found it. Many people go through life not being able to find their purpose. But I think I figured it out that, acha, this is what I have to do. Okay. And then I started sharing as much as I knew to help others live a fuller life, a happier, balanced life, a life which has meaning, a life that has purpose. It's not just about you, it's about as you grow, others grow with you. Yeah. And that is what prosperous businesses are all about, right?
So, Coach, when you talk about that this was your purpose and you have been training all your life for it, so neuro coaching, and you basically break down complex structures and complex things and explain it in a very simple format. So, can you please tell us what neuro coaching is all about? You know, what exactly it does and how does it help people?
So, what I do is that I help people to understand how their brain works. So, there are some facts. This is the way it is. There are some rules which are based on it. Our beliefs create our reality. We then look for evidence to match our beliefs. Brain rule. That is the way it is. Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, Biology of Belief, has spoken in so much of detail about this. So I understand that. I help others to understand it. So the neuro coaching is talking about you understanding what are your patterns, what are those loops that are going round and round in your brain, where are they coming from, and then how do you shift it and how do you change it and install a new program, because neuroplasticity talks about how our brain changes till the day we die. Many people go through life living with limiting beliefs, thinking this is the way it is. Because my father is like this, my grandfather is like this, my chacha is like this, my brother is like this, therefore I am like this. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You have control. You can change the way you think, and you can change it till the day you die. That is how humanity has reached so far. If we were stuck in a time warp, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to do the things that we are doing today. So we change, and change is hard. It's very hard for the brain because the brain wants to live in its comfort zone. We don't like to do things which are difficult for us. That is our wiring. So when we understand that, oh, it is possible for me to change. This is not my story. I get to write my own script. I am not a victim to my destiny. And once you understand that, the game of life changes. It just changes because you take control. You start sitting in the steering wheel and you put your hands on the steering wheel, and then you set your goals and then you go. Spiritual wisdom comes from the teachings of Krishna for me, and karmanyeva adhikarastu ma phaleshu katachana. Focus on the work that you have to do and let go of the outcome. Surrender is a very important skill for an entrepreneur, for a business leader to learn, because it comes from your intuition, right? And as I see a lot that today, a lot of entrepreneurs need to understand that not every decision that you make is driven by fact, right? You cannot, today we have become so reliant on data. It is important. I'm not saying it is not important, but your intuition is equally important. So
Definitely.
I feel it in my gut. So the gut feel is the second brain, right? This is where dopamine, serotonin is produced. And for entrepreneurs, for leaders across business categories, across net worth, it does not matter. But I have noticed that those leaders who trust their intuition are actually fearless. For them to take a decision becomes easier. And businesses today grow because the leader is not procrastinating. The leader is taking a decision. And when the leader takes a decision, the needle has to move forward. Either you will win or you will lose, but you will move forward.
Yeah.
So moving forward is so important for all business leaders and for all people across. So neuro coaching merged with spiritual wisdom is you taking control of your life back in your hands.
So, Coach, having you here but not sharing the experiences and the immense knowledge that you possess would be unjust to our listeners. So, can you tell me a scenario wherein probably you were with somebody and he had a chronic problem? Like, as you said, the belief systems from the forefathers is coming in, and this is just the way it is, that you're that stubborn at that particular moment. And probably it leads to unhappiness and the person feeling bad about his things, and he just doesn't know yet, and he could get out of it. If you have such instance, if you could share what was happening and how did the whole neuro coaching and the whole rewiring of their thoughts and narrative help them come out of it to a fruitful life.
So I'll share a story about a woman leader, and she was the CFO of a very large public sector unit handling a huge amount of money. She was the only woman on the board and in the senior leadership. And she worked in a town and she lived somewhere else. Her family was somewhere else. So she used to live over there, and along came COVID. So she went back home. Now, during that time, she was convinced that she's going to get sacked. She was convinced, right? the CEO, the CMO, the CTO, the Chief Innovation Officer, and she's a CFO of a public sector unit. And she came to me at a point where she said that, I think I'm going to lose my job, right? So COVID did a lot of things to a lot of people. And I helped her. She was a victim of her belief. Number one, I'm a woman. Number two, I'm handling so many crores of public money.
Yeah.
Right? I have to be very careful. Number three, they're all men here, they're out to get me. All beliefs. And because she was out of her location, I started helping her to remember her story everywhere where she has taken the correct decision and why she there. Right? She started writing it down. Writing it down. That was our first session. We just wrote it down. Said, okay, now do you have evidence that you are worthy? And the reason that you are there is because you are good at your job. Your gender has nothing to do with it, right? So do not link both the things. So first thing is we de-linked her story, her personal story, which is her personal reality, which is created by her beliefs. Number two, she started taking ownership of who she was and what she did. Number three, she took responsibility of the work that she did. Number four, she started building a narrative in which she was trusting all the others. Right? And I think when slowly she did that, her confidence was back because she was a victim of her own mind.
Right? How long did it take for her to come out of that?
So for everybody, the journey is different. I've had people turn around in one session. They come in after 1 hour, they walk out and they're like, woo, who am I? For some, it takes, every brain is wired differently, right? How much her desire to fix it was very strong, very strong. So your desire to reach a goal determines the speed with which you will reach it.
Understood.
Some are at a tipping point and they're like, you know what? So the best time to change, I would think, is in your mind is when you're at the tipping point where you feel, you know what? I'm done. So that I'm done helps you to move to the next goalpost very fast. When you're not bothered and you come and see me, I often tell them, do this. I build a new program. I said, now you have to install this new program in your software and delete the virus, which is come into your brain, right? And this is the antivirus. You have to install it for 21 days, then 40 days, and then 66 days, because there's no shortcut. And if you do that, you can come back and see me. If you're not going to do the work, don't bother.
There's no point, back.
Don't bother, right? So I think they understand that. So for everybody, the desire and the speed with which you will move forward is different.
So, Coach, there's another method which I have heard is that LIC and LA method. And how does that help along with the whole neuro coaching and spiritual mindset to build a great personality as a leader? And I think to have a good, positive personal well-being.
Yeah. So I would say what I teach is that learning, L for learning. So what neuroscience research tells us is that every time you learn something new, you are always building new neural pathways. And for you to keep your creativity alive, you always have to have a learning mindset. So the L is for learning. Keep learning. Remember that you are work in progress. One lifetime for any human being is not enough to learn what there is to learn in any sector. So you can never reach a place in your life where you say, Acha, haan, I've arrived. Mujhe sab pata hai. Never. No one human being can do it in one lifetime. It's not possible. So you never know enough. And that is again a growth mindset that, I'm always learning something new. So learning, very important. The I is for intuitive. And it is so critical that you learn to surrender, right? We don't surrender, right? And we always feel that we want to control things, right? The C is for control, right? And so when you take control of your life, intuitively take a decision and move one step forward, you have shifted in your mind. You let go of your fear. You learn to let go because fear is a learned skill. Nobody is born with any kind of fear. Yeah. And the LA stands for love. So love is a very high frequency. When you love something so much, you will take a step forward. When you love yourself so much, you believe in yourself so much, you are willing to take another one step forward. And the A stands for a difficult concept. And the reality is that in this journey of life, technically speaking, we are all alone.
Yeah.
We come alone and we go alone. And for a leader to sit alone by themselves, is it important? Yes. Is it important to sit alone, reflect, think, strategize, plan? It's important. So when you are comfortable in your own company, it gives you a certain amount of confidence. And when you bow down to the divine power, you also realize that you are not alone. There is a power that is always guiding you, that's always supporting you, always helping you to take that one step forward. So this is where the science and the spiritual world comes
So,
together.
coach, when you talk to all these people, and when you are learning about their journeys, and when you are trying to help them, mold their journey into something which is more positive and fruitful, something which is more fulfilling and purposeful. Have you ever seen a pattern with successful people? Like this is the
Yes.
kind of pattern that happens.
Yes, I have. Yeah, there are two things that really pop out to me in my mind now that you asked me this question. Yeah. And the first thing would be that they have a very optimistic outlook towards life. They're extremely optimistic. And they feel ki, okay, I will fall, I'll make a mistake. But you know what? I'll try again. I'll try again. You show me the way, I will try. If this doesn't work, it's okay. No problem. I'll try again. So optimism is an optimistic outlook towards yourself, towards your environment, is a key trait for every business leader. And I've seen all successful people have that. Yeah. And the second is all successful leaders have integrated giving back, have integrated sharing with others into their business model. And they're open to the idea and they understand that the more you have, the more you give. Because they follow the law of the universe. And the law of the universe is simple. What you give is what you get.
Yeah.
Right? So I think these two traits shine out for me. And every business should have giving back integrated into their model, irrespective of whether you are a 10 lakh company or whether you're a 10,000 crore company. I think these are the two successful traits that I have seen.
So when you just talked about that, people know that if I fall, they will get up and they will run again. They just need some kind of guidance, like probably a path. Okay, यहाँ पे हो जाएगा, तो let's try this. नहीं हुआ, कोई बात नहीं, let's try this.
Correct.
So when they fall, and sometimes I believe, like, and even I have faced that you fall hard, and that has a toll on you. So there is like a transition period before you could get up again and walk. So in such failures, what advice would you give to an individual that can keep him going, or that can reduce that transition time to gunning again?
I'll start by this quote because I think this quote has the answer. How quickly you get up when you fall will determine how far you will go. Because failure is inevitable, right? I have yet, and trust me, I have met a lot of leaders. I have yet to find a man who can stand up, man or woman who can stand up and say, successful leaders, I have never made a mistake, coach. Those people don't exist.
Yeah.
Everybody has made a mistake, but they got up quickly. So when you are completely down and out, number one, be grateful that you're still there. Be grateful. Be grateful for all the good things that you have in your life. Start always with gratitude because your cup is always full. Right? So everything, you made a mistake, thoda sa bahar gir gaya pani, that's it. But you are still fine. So start with gratitude. Try and count your blessings for everything that you have. You still have a roof over your head. You still have food on the table. You still have your loved one next to you. And isn't that awesome? So let's start first with that. I have everything that I need to start. Number two, set a very small goal, which is a short-term goal, because when we have fallen, our brain needs that hit of dopamine and we need to win very quickly. So you have to start with the low-lying fruit. What is it that you can actually do? What is it that you can actually achieve? Whether it's in your personal life. So personally, you have to win, because when you lose your confidence, your personal confidence has taken a hit, right? So one simple thing that you can do, let us say that, okay, fine, I have a routine. I don't feel like showing my face to anybody. I'm feeling so ashamed of the fact that I have lost. No problem. Can you personally win? Yes, you can. How? Can you get up and go for a walk? Every time you walk for half an hour, let's push it to 40 minutes. Can you walk for 40 minutes? What did you do? You won. Something that you have to do alone, right? Nobody is watching. Can you do that? All right. Can you eat healthy? Yeah. Can you do that? Yeah, I can do that. It's in your control, right? Can you sit and read a book for half an hour? I think you can do that. These are small wins. And when you get to know that, oh, I am actually in control, you get the confidence to take the big jump. So you have to win very quickly and always experiment with yourself. Walk. Do a Surya Namaskar. You've done 2 Surya Namaskars, try 3.
You can 3, yeah.
No problem. You did a plank hold for 10 seconds, try a plank hold for 20 seconds. Your body will start getting that
Used to
dopamine
it.
hit. So you start winning personally. When you start winning personally, professionally, your confidence is back. Yes, I can do it. And then slowly get back into your work if you have fallen back, and take a few steps forward. So I think that is a good strategy to move ahead.
So, coach, you just mentioned that start with gratitude, which I think is the most magical thing in the world. But I have seen people, and I think I should count myself in it as well, that when we start with gratitude, okay, I'll be grateful actually about the things that I have. But gratitude is so much more. Like you can be grateful about a leaf on a tree. So how can you open your mind even further to experience the bandwidth that gratitude offers?
Yeah. So, like we say, charity begins at home. Gratitude also begins at home. So be grateful for the environment that you are in, and feeling gratitude, journaling about it is not enough. When you imbibe it so deeply into your spirit, you find the courage to be able to say thank you to the person who's bought you a glass of water. You find it in yourself to say thank you for a person in a hotel that opens your door. So it becomes a way of life where you are saying thank you. Everywhere around you, you start to see the universe coming together to help you, because that is what you are radiating. Because the frequency of gratitude, freedom, love, and happiness, according to Dr. David Hawkins' pyramid of consciousness, it is the highest, right? So the more grateful you are for all the things that you have, and you find the courage to say it, like I've written in the journal, don't just write it. Make the call, send the WhatsApp message, find someone and tell them how grateful you are for the fact that somebody is there for you, right? And I think you will see it around you, and it becomes a way of who you become
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
It becomes you.
So, coach, since we have just spoken about how a person can improve themselves. Now, let's consider that you are a happy person at a leadership position, but you still have to deal with people, and that offsets your mood, your brain, your whole narrative. I think anger in office place is the most common thing right now, or anger at home, which I think you must be hearing a lot about. So, how do you navigate different sectors of people? Like, for example, if I am to hire a Gen Z, what is the correct way, or like what kind of people I should be looking for, what kind of trait we should be looking for in today's scenarios? Because I think COVID changed a lot of things.
It did. It did. So I think moving forward, the hybrid working style is here to stay. And a lot of youngsters in the age group, I would say of 22 to 32, right? So these people, boys and girls, they are used to having time on their own, working on their own schedules. And this is the reality. It is here to stay. So leaders need to find a mechanism in which they are listening to what these people are doing, right? So I think developing a relationship with your team is the first piece of advice I would like to give all leaders who are hiring people like this. And build a relationship with them, get to know what their mechanisms of rewards are. For somebody, a person stays in an organization. Number one, people work for people. पैसा तो कहीं से भी कमाया जा सकता है. When people work for people, the work is important. The purpose and impact of their work is important. They need to understand the larger picture. Why am I doing this? Can you explain to me what the big picture is? Not many people do that to the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah.
The big picture is always in the head of the leader. But to help them understand that their work matters. Number two, their work. You are a small cog in the entire wheel, but your little piece is important because it is making an impact over there. So helping them to understand the impact of their work is important because these things are important to them now, right? Number three, building a relationship.
Got it.
Right? And if you have these three together, then once there is a relationship between the person who is at the bottom of the pyramid with his team lead, the team lead with the manager on top, with the manager on top, so show him the big picture. Is it recognition that works for you? Is it appreciation that works for you? Or is it money that works for you? Because everybody's reason to work is different.
Yeah.
And I think it is the job of a leader to understand that. And that can only come from a conversation. It could happen on Zoom, it could happen on Teams, it could happen in person. But before you start a meeting, acha tumhara weekend kaisa raha?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a saying
so that conversation is important. You didn't come for office last night. You weren't here last week. You said your mother had a surgery. How is she doing now?
Yeah.
So that is a conversation of connection. And you make that connection, the person will work for you.
So coach, like there's also a saying that always hire smarter people than you, like in the business world. So now so there's a paradox here. Like first, how do you find the smarter people? And if you do, how do you know it's not just phony? It's not presentation. Because I think a lot of work is going on into presenting yourself in the first meeting or something like that. So how to make sure that the person is really smart? So since you deal with mindset and since you deal with people, please tell us how we can find or analyze that the person is actually who he is.
Correct. So I think the presentation, like you very rightly said, is something that people are beginning to understand that it is important. Correct? So your degree, your presentation skills will get you inside the door, but they're not going to help you keep the job, right? Because how much can you pretend? After some time, it is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So for a leader who is hiring somebody, the first and I think the most important thing that you need to always remember is check the attitude of the person. Your attitude determines the altitude that you will rise in your life. Correct? And to check the attitude of the person, whatever your business requirements are, usually you have three of them. I mean, does a person have the knowledge and skills, the skill for the job? Number two, does a person understand the importance of time? Because today, a lot of people are struggling to manage their time well. And a lot of work today is deadline driven. And number three, is this person willing to learn, right? Because if the attitude is that, yes, sir, I know all this, but people don't hire you for what you know. They hire you for what you can do for them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what he's looking. So what can you do for them? So I think if there is that match, and I think then we are in a good place.
So when talking about paradoxes, there's another paradox that overworking has become more common. So like when some
Burnout.
places recently, it was in the news also that people are working 12 hours, 8 hours, and they overwork themselves. And then two things happen. Either they get a complete burnout and something like that, and this is something they are really proud of, कि मैं तो 12 घंटे काम करता हूँ. Or what happens is you start whining about it. So your job demands it, you need to pull in those hours or whatever it is, but then you start complaining about it. So what is overworking actually? Like, I don't think it is the number of hours, because as you said, every person, every mind, every narrative is different. So what exactly is overworking? That would be my first question on this. And second, I think everybody's running in the race of productivity. That you see a couple of videos, you want to look at productivity hacks and you want to optimize yourself. So I am all in for optimizing. But what is real productivity? Like some people might get work done in 2 hours and then they look bad because they're not working as much. And some people, they are slogging the whole day and then they look bad because they're overworking and they're not efficient enough.
Correct.
So if you could explain the difference.
I'll talk about both of them. Yeah. So I'll share this with a very simple. I'll give the little bit of science behind it as well, right? So our body functions best, right? We can take quick decisions and we work with clarity when our body is rested and we have slept for 7 to 8 hours. Everybody's requirement is 6 to 8 hours at one stretch, not in bits and pieces. When your body is rested for 6 to 8 hours at a stretch, at the same time, every day, the efficiency with which you will think goes up 10x. Brain fog sets in when you are overworking, when you have erratic hours all the time. If you think your body is functioning straight, the margin, we have enough research, the margin of error increases with lack of sleep. Clarity in decision making goes down when you're not eating well and when you're not sleeping well, because the body needs fuel to function. गाड़ी में पेट्रोल नहीं डालोगे तो गाड़ी कैसे चलेगी? नहीं चल सकती है. This is cannot function, not possible, right? So to pretend and to think that, oh, I worked for 12, you can do it for 1 day, you can do it for 2 days, you can do it for maybe 3 days, but on the 4th day, you will collapse. So what is the solution? What is the answer? The answer to your second part of your question is a balanced life, right? A balanced life follows a 888 formula. 8 3s are 24. It's divided into 3 8s. The first 8, what is it that we are supposed to do? Sleep for 8 hours a day, non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Number 2, work for 8 hours a day. And the third 8 hours for yourself. And this third 8 hours is divided into 4 hours, 2 to 2 hours each. Number 1, 2 hours, take care of yourself. Take care. Your brushing, your gym, your sauna, your massage, whatever you need to do for yourself, take 2 hours out of that 8 to do it. Number 2 hours, spend time with your family and with your friends. 2 hours, have fun. Have fun. Whatever gives you joy, whatever makes you happy, whatever puts a smile on your face, have fun. Fun could be reading a book, fun could be watching a movie, whatever. The other fourth 2 hours, 2 hours in a day, learn something new. Whatever it might be for you. Could be music, could be in the field that you are in. And this 888 is actually a solution to be leading a balanced life. Because now if you see, you have all the time.
So, coach, after doing all of this, what is the mantra to be more happy? So there's this quote which I always say, that is, be happy for no damn reason. It was said to me by one of my mentors. So he said that just smile. If you have nothing to do, then sit smiling. And then be happy for no damn reason. And when you can start being happy for no damn reason, that's where you'll see real progress. Now I have tried that to a certain degree, but I'm still to understand, how can you be happy for no damn reason at all times?
So you can't, because we are not robots. We are human beings and we have emotions, right? And we get triggered by different things all the time. So what we do know in neuroscience is that it takes about 4 to 5 seconds to change a neural pathway. And you cannot, right? The law of thought in some ways is simple. A positive thought and a negative thought cannot coexist at the same time. So when you do have a negative thought, how quickly the thumb rule is within 5 seconds you can change a thought, right? But if you don't change it into a happy thought, yes, I'm feeling bad about this.
Can you give me an example of how this happens? Like any thought that you have and change it just like that.
Just in 5 seconds, you change. Early morning, you're waking up. right? I'll give you my story, right? Now, Monday mornings, I make a reel. Yeah. And for me to put up that Monday morning reel on Instagram is a Herculean task. It is so difficult. My brain is always telling me, no need, no need. And just, I would say, day before yesterday, I did a live meditation, and that was on a Friday. And Saturday, I've not written the script for Monday. Sunday, I've not written the script. Why? And Friday only you did a live meditation on Instagram. No need to do the Monday reel now. And that is a negative thought that is going on and on and on and on in my mind because I don't actually want to do it. It is hard for me. It's been 4 years and still I try and not do it. Correct? But I am aware that this noise is going on. So what I do is that when I journal in the morning during my golden hour, I write the impact. I'm so grateful my Monday morning reel helps people in many ways. And I leave it at that. That means I have put a goal. I have put a purpose to my task. Is it for me? It's not for me. I don't sell anything on Instagram. It is a purpose in which I have to help other people with the knowledge that I have. So I give, no, it's not for you, Saloni. I don't gain anything out of it. I'm not making any money on Instagram. What am I doing? My purpose is the higher purpose.
Yeah.
Help other people. So the minute you do that, you will get into action. And yes, the thought will come. You write, you journal. I know I'm changing my feeling. I'm so grateful that this is what is happening. And then you will end up doing it. So consistency plus self-discipline is equal to results. Your mind will chatter. It is out there to make excuses, but it is our job to hack it, to keep us centered on our path, to make a difference in the life of others.
Right? So now, how do you attach this to productivity?
Hmm.
Like overworking can be solved that, okay, if you have a negative thought, you make it positive. But what quantifies as productivity? Like, how do you know that you have done enough for the day?
So a simple hack for that is that before you start, if work starts at 9 o'clock, you need to reach work at 8:30 and prioritize. Prioritize not only for yourself as well as for the key decision makers. A lot of time, the reason where productivity falls is because they don't know what they have to focus on for the day. And like I say, whatever you focus on in your life is going to expand. So what are you focusing on? Is it aligned to the goal? And the smaller you make the goal, the higher your productivity. The more clarity you have in your goal, the higher your productivity. And chop it down into small chunks of time. And the detail and specificity with which, because understand Parkinson's law of time. Time is going to expand and shrink basis the amount of time that is available to complete a task. A task can be done in 4 hours. A task in which there is a deadline to submit a tender will finish in 1 hour. That's the way it works. So you have to be clear. Your productivity has to be measured by the amount of time you are spending on focusing on completion of a task. And that is a leader's job. He is a visionary. He or she is a visionary. And she needs to be able to think, this is what we need to prioritize on. And once you can delegate it to your team and you teach them how to prioritize. आज ये जरूरी है. आज इसको इतने बजे खत्म करना है. Whoa. You conquer time, you conquer productivity.
And a lot of people, coach, these days have difficulty in delegating. Like first you need to, as you said, prioritize. So that's a task on itself.
Yes.
कि क्या prioritize करें, क्या नहीं करें, सब तो जरूरी है.
सब तो जरूरी है.
Then you have कि ठीक है, अब prioritize तो हो गया, अब इसमें से कुछ delegate करना है. So then you again struggle what to delegate, what not to delegate, and then you have this paradox in your mind कि वो कर पाएगा कि नहीं कर पाएगा as good as I can do. So this happens with almost all the leaders at some point of time. So if you can shed some light on how well you can prioritize or what is a good way to go about prioritizing, and along with that, what would be the best way to delegate? Like how to overcome that thing कि ये मेरे से अच्छा नहीं कर पाएगा, and what task or how do you prioritize the task that needs to be delegated?
Okay. So when you are looking to delegate, there are 3 steps. Number 1, find the right person to whom you are delegating. Number two, after you have delegated, ask the person to repeat. Did you understand what I told you to do? It is not zaruri that you have said it and the person has understood, right? Because then there is a slip between the lip and the cup. I asked you to do this, you have done this. That is what I understood because you did not delegate it with clarity, right? Ask, did you understand? Number three, do a mid. You've given a task to a person in the morning at 10 o'clock. You want it to be finished at 6 o'clock. Go in the afternoon at 3 o'clock and ask, are you doing okay? Did you understand this? How is it going? What can I help you with? Is a very important question for a leader to ask the person to whom he has delegated. And the fourth and the most important step, trust the person to be able to do it. Will he be able to do it as well as you? No, he won't, because there is only one you, which is why you're sitting on the top. If he was as good as you, he would be there, you would not be there. Correct? So therefore, trust. Trust the person to be able to complete it in the way that you've asked them to do it. And I think if you follow these 4 steps of delegation, you should be able to move forward.
That's actually interesting, coach. I should definitely try that out. Now, to proceed further, like many things have happened in the past couple of years. Like we had the COVID, then we now have the whole AI thing going on, wherein every
Generative AI now.
generative AI, LLMs, whatnot. You can do anything on AI right now, like almost
Absolutely.
everything. You have robots coming in. આજકાલ though that floor mopping robots are very common.
Yes.
Like the first step is gone.
Right.
So now you'll have the proper ones which are being tested and all. So what do you think will be like the upcoming leadership style? Like how do leaders need to adapt in these changing scenarios of the market, and what kind of skills or traits or practices or daily routine, if I may, they should possess to navigate the complexities that's going to come their way?
Yeah. So I think the first thing would be to be open to change, because our brain is hardwired to resist change. So the first thing is be aware that the environment around us is changing. We had the concept of the VUCA world and we spoke about it so many years ago, but today we are actually living in the VUCA world. It is very volatile. It is very uncertain, right? It is very complex. It's very ambiguous. So be comfortable with change and write down everywhere on your wall Gandhiji's quote, change is the only constant. Again, it's written, Parivartan hi जीवन का नियम है, right? So change is happening and it is okay. Which is where to answer a question that you had asked some time back. You might not have the skill sets to understand how you can use AI to up your game in the business. Hire somebody who knows it. Hire somebody who understands what your problems are and he can give you a solution for it, right? So be open to change. Hire correct technical people who can help you to up your game in adapting your company to embracing technology, because there is no other alternative. It is happening, it is coming. And I think the third thing would be that be a people's person. Talk to that person at the bottom of the pyramid and build relationships. That's what I think I would like to leave.
That's great, coach. I think it was like a coaching session with you today. So I have some quick fire questions just to pick your brain.
Sure.
I think this should be fun. So the first one, what's the one piece of advice you wish you would have received earlier in your life?
You are such a gifted speaker. Please start coaching right away.
How do you stay motivated in the face of challenges?
I have habits.
Can you share a few?
So the golden hour is, I belong to the 5 a.m. club. It's been a part of my life. I wake up in the morning, irrespective of where I am, under what circumstances. And my habits keep me anchored and they give me sanity. So I do my journaling. Meditation is a very important part of my life. And I move my body, because when your body moves, your brain grooves. Exercising is critical to your mental well-being.
So with all these coaching sessions and all these speaking to people, that should be very exhausting. So what do you do the first thing to unwind after a long, exhausting day?
I go for coffee with my husband to Starbucks. And I love watching movies. I love it. So Friday and Saturday, so the weekends, I keep for binging on movies. I
What's
love
your
it.
favorite recent movie?
Recently, I think I saw this very nice movie called It Ends With Us.
Okay.
It was a movie about belief systems. So I liked it. Yeah.
So one habit, like you said, that there are 3 or 4 habits that keep you anchored. One habit that you would recommend everyone to adopt so as to become better leader or just a better person?
It has to be journaling. So I think journaling with meditation is a very powerful habit because the subconscious mind works in images. Meditation is a very powerful way in which you can become one with your goals. So you journal about and you manifest in your mind because you become comfortable with it. So I think both of these they go hand in hand.
So like consider this like me talking to you for the first time, and I have zero experience with meditation and zero experience with a pen and paper. Like what would be my quickest way to start? Like first with meditation and then to journal.
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
Whatever works for you. I never say that first journal, then do meditation, first do meditation, then do journaling. No, do what works for you. To start journaling, I would say write down 10 things every day that you are grateful for. That's a good way to start. And then reach the RRFM formula.
So now, any one particular book or a resource that you believe has helped you greatly in your journey?
So it'll be that book that I read. It's by a gentleman called Joe Hyams, Zen in the Martial Arts. It was published in 1982. I was all of 13 years old. And that's what my father used to read. And I found this book at 13. And I think, truthfully, so I was very small to understand, but I still read it. I absorbed it. And I understood how important it was to be able to I learned the principles of the foundation principles. I think I learned in that book. And Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill also was one of the game changers for me.
Thank you so much, Coach. Thank you so much for sharing a lot of knowledge in such a short span of time. I'm especially amazed by the fact that with your narrative, like it doesn't matter what's happening in your brain. Like it doesn't matter if everything is going wrong around you. Probably it's inside your head.
Absolutely.
So, and the best way to start is to be thankful for yourself. Like gratitude begins with you, I think.
Absolutely.
So you can start thinking about the good things that you have done and what you are capable of, and that should boost your morale. Secondly, I think in our whole conversation, I understood that you come first, as in the person himself has to do the job and has to make sure that his fortitude and his brain and everything is aligned. Then only he can go out and then only he can deal with all sort of people. Because if we are not stable and we are just asking random questions in interviews or hiring people or probably going for a job with less clarity, so it's not going to do the thing. So third, again, clarity is the name of the game.
Absolutely.
And last but not the least, I think we should accept change and we should be thankful for change and embrace it with open arms and be grateful about it.
Absolutely.
So I think immense learning today, Coach. Thank you so much for sharing all of these. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm actually grateful to have you here. But I would feel that all the listeners here today who have been very kind to listen for so far, if you can tell them how they can approach you or how they can get a session with you, where they can contact you, how would that be easy? That'd be great.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram.
And I think
you can contact me
the book also.
Yes, the book, the Rewire Your Brain book is there. That's a good step to start your journaling journey. I have a lot of meditations on the Level Supermind app. You can listen to them there. And I think the starting to journal from the book is the first step. And you can follow me on Instagram and you can send me a message.
Thank you so much, Coach. And I think everybody is happy and grateful that you're spreading such positivity into the world without any kind of baggage. So thank you so much for coming here. Thank you everyone for listening and stay tuned for more. We have many more such great episodes coming on board.